Hey y'all, my name is Lindsay, and I am a pretty open book about who I am. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit of my life and the chapters of it. My story starts a long time ago. My father was the product of a very hardworking woman and a father who was not so hardworking. He was not very present in my dad's childhood, and so that forced my dad to have to work and help my grandmother at a very young age. So one day, my dad found this dairy farmer and he started working for him, and he started being really close with their family. And eventually it got to the point that he pretty much moved in with them and he lived there and he grew up with them. And the farmer had 5 children, and the farmer's oldest daughter and my dad were friends. They were best friends. And one night, the farmer's daughter and my dad both had dates with 2 different people, and they both got stood up. So they decided that they were going to go to the movies. And the rest is history. My mom and dad were eventually married, and shortly after, they decided to join the church and go to the temple. And then a few years later, I was a product of them. And one of the major chapters of my life includes a love story, but it's not quite as pleasant as theirs. I was young and I married young to a non-member, and I ended up in a pretty bad situation. And soon after I was married and had a child, I ended up divorced and moving back home to those same loving parents. And I went through some significant trials in my life through that time, and through relying on the gospel, it helped me to remember who I was and that the Lord didn't leave me alone. And about a year after that I moved home, I was going through a medical assisting program because I wanted to be a medical assistant, and there was a good school around here where I live. And so I did that, and I, of course, learned CPR. And not long after I learned CPR, my dad ended up getting into a tragic accident, and I was the one that found him and had to perform CPR on him. And so these are a couple of experiences in my life and chapters out of my story that have helped shape me into the person that I am. And through those experiences, the Lord has never left my side. He's always been there with me. And so I know that if we can rely on Him for everything that we have to go through in our lives, He can help us remember who we are, and He can help guide us safely home. And this is an original bottle from my grandfather's dairy farm that I thought was cool and that I would share with y'all. So that is a little bit about me.